Chase Ridgeway, welcome
So
to Gross Potential.
I was in Whole Foods, just shopping, doing my groceries. I get home, I open up TikTok, as one would,
Yeah.
and I scroll. I'm like 5 videos in, and I'm like, oh, that's me. You know? Wait,
Do you
yeah.
think that posting content, all this attention, and this fame, you think that's going to be a roadblock for a future partner?
I have dated one person and one person only. Since then, I have probably gone on a total of maybe 1 or 2 dates.
Chase in high school, where are your priorities?
So I'll be vulnerable here. I'll be honest. I did not enjoy my high school experience one bit. Do you think you've had a rejection, like a big one in your life that you can think of?
There's this one girl that I was crushing on so hard, and she wanted nothing to do with me. And we were just Snapchatting. She'd leave me undelivered for like 3 days in a row. This was junior year high school. There's one night, just texted her good night. Like 3 days.
Oh, I didn't know where.
I just texted her good night. Chase Ridgeway, welcome
Yo,
to Gross Potential.
Anthony, what's up, man? How we doing?
I am doing fantastic. It is an absolute honor to have you on, brother.
Dude,
Seriously.
The pleasure's mine, man. The pleasure's mine. When you reached out to me, I was more excited than one would think. So happy to be here, man.
This is so I don't think you know, but your reach has made it into the college town. My good friend the other day, he comes up to me, he's like, yo, like the only videos I watch is like you and that Chase Ridgeway guy. Like I love his content.
No kidding.
It fired me up. But seriously, bro, you can't say this about a lot of people. Like a lot of content creators, it's like, do people really like them? Do they really love them? Do they respect them? You've got the trifecta. Like people like, love, and respect you, it's awesome. So it's a pleasure having you on.
Dude, that means the world to me, seriously. And I think the biggest thing I love, I don't know why it's blurred. I think the biggest thing, sorry about that. The biggest thing I love and I have noticed is like when I get to talk and hear about people watching my content outside of where I live,
Yeah.
that's such just a crazy thing to think about that, oh, someone across the country or across the world can watch my content. I'm having that kind of impact. It's just wild to think about. So that's awesome to hear.
The reach on social media is crazy. But anyway, let's get right into this podcast. So
Yeah.
we've got a bunch of very good topics. Like we're gonna get into your childhood. We're gonna figure out who Chase Ridgeway is. We'll talk a little bit girls, relationships. We'll talk personal development, how you structure your day, content, everything. But on this podcast, I start out everybody with the first question. And this first question is, what TV, book, or movie character do you think best resembles you?
Oh, so this one I would say, and if there's any women watching this, they will get this right away. I would say a good bit of men know this as well, but there's this show, New Girl. It's a very popular show. It's kind of like an Office sort of vibe, a very homebody, like comfort show watch. And I had never seen this show up until about 2 years ago. And the reason I watched this is growing up my entire life, every single person I ran into kept uttering the words, Chase, you remind me exactly of this guy named Schmidt. This guy named Schmidt from the show New Girl. This guy named Schmidt. And I just got it over and over and over and over until finally I was abroad in Europe last year, just solo traveling, doing my thing by myself. And I meet these girls in Switzerland. First time I've ever came in contact with these girls. We're staying at a hostel in the middle of the mountains. Within 5 minutes of us meeting, they get into like a little huddle. They huddle up in the corner of the hostel, and then they come back to me. I'm over here thinking like, do I have something on my shirt? Like, is my hair messed up? Like, what's going on here? And the first words out of their mouth were, Chase, you probably haven't seen this show, but you remind us exactly of this guy named Schmidt from New Girl. And that was just the cherry on top that I knew I had to watch it. I go watch the show. It's a lot more popular show than I thought. A lot of people have seen it, but I watched the first episode and I was like, yeah, that is me in a nutshell.
So what is it? Is it like ball energy, big personality, charismatic?
It's basically like it is basically the personality and energy, like the whole just expressing myself or his self without a care in the world, like just being that your authentic self through the screen, like not caring what other people think. Because I think there's just such this stigma nowadays too especially around guys, that you have to be this like manly man. And if you come off not that way, people seem to think of that as like a weakness or look down upon that. And so I think a lot of guys are scared to kind of have a funny and goofy side because they don't want to come off as this, super, strong Sigma male, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so I think when you kind of take it off that pedestal and you just be your authentic self, let out that goofy side, let out the part of yourself that, is just you. I think a lot of people can see that come through. And I think that's where a lot of people resonate that with me, is because him in that show, that is exactly what he's known for, as being not your typical guy, the oddball out,
Right.
that is just having a good time and everyone likes to be around.
So I think a lot of people in their childhood, we all have that inner kid. Like we all have that energy. Yeah. Who cares what this person says? I'm just going to be me. I'm going to have fun. But as you grow older, society like restricts us and we try to conform and get into the norm and be who other people want us to be. How did you never lose that inner child?
Dude, that is a great question. And I think it takes a lot of people would love to get to that point. A lot of people say, oh, I don't care what other people think about me. But when it really comes down to it, you care a little bit. You'll see a comment online or you'll see something here or there. And that really is what kind of tests yourself. And I think what really did it for me was, I kind of referenced back into it earlier, but last year when I graduated college, I wasn't necessarily quote unquote happy with who I was becoming. I spent the first 2 years of my college career I'm sure you can speak on this as well, just partying, going balls to the wall. I was doing everything that I possibly could to just have a good night. Like I thought that's how I would make more friends. That's how more people would like me, is I go drink more, I go do more. And then I realized towards the end of college that just wasn't really my vibe. That's not really where my values lied. And so I started to take things a little bit slower. I started to focus a lot more on my career and work. And so I was kind of intertwined with this, trying to figure out who I really wanted to be. Yeah. And that's when I made the leap of faith. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to book a one-way flight to Europe. No one else is going to go with me. I'm just going to go by myself. I'm going to book a one-way flight to Europe. And I ended up staying there for 78 days. And I think being alone for 78 days, going to 23 different countries, allowed me to almost fall in love and figure out who I am and how much I love being alone and figuring out all the things about my inner self that I love. And when I got back from that trip, I knew that I was solely okay with who I was as a person. I knew what I liked, what I didn't like. I didn't care what other people thought of me because I had experienced all the highs and lows that I've seen in my life. And so I knew the things that I loved. I knew the things that I hated. And I knew I didn't have to conform to anyone else in society now, because I had figured out, okay, this is who I am. This is who I want to be.
So first of all, that's very cool. And that's not an easy thing to do, to go solo travel. I was,
it was not easy by any means.
But before that, like when I think about going out, okay, so a couple things go to mind. Why people go out. Number one, for girls. Like, let's just be real. Like, go talk to girls, spit, have a good time. Number two, to get drunk or just to go out and get your mind off something. So it's like an escape. But so when we do that and we go through this party phase, those are probably two of the big reasons why you do it, to have fun, escape, girls. Did you like struggle with self-love at the time? Like before you really knew who you were?
Yeah, Anthony, man, that is, you're hitting home right here. You're hitting the batter's box right there. I think that is exactly the feelings that I had, is because I didn't really, quote unquote, love myself for who I was. And so I feel like I had to find that completion in me in someone else. There was always that saying, and I always believed, I thought this was, the holy grail is, like, find someone who completes you. Like that is in terms of like girls, women, like, oh, find someone that completes you, or vice versa. When in reality, it's like, no, like you should complete yourself. And then whoever you're with should be an addition on top of that. They should make you better than you already are. And I think it was one of those things where I always thought I needed someone else in my life, a group of people, something, an activity, something to fill that other void in me. Yeah. When in reality, I had to fill that myself and then use everything else in my life as an addition onto that. And so I think early on, like you said, I was just trying to figure out, I didn't really know who I was. So I was trying to find in all these other escapes.
So like what do you have something specifically? Like what was it that you found in yourself that you're like, holy shit, I'm Chase Ridgeway. I don't give a
Yeah, I think, and really enough, it's kind of broad, but then again, it's a smaller thing. And I think it was falling in love with being alone.
Mm.
And that's something that I don't think a lot of people really ever want or desire to get to or want to have is like, oh, like I always want to be around other people. It's like, oh, I always want to be doing something. But it's like if you can go out to a nice restaurant, if you can go to a steakhouse and sit down by yourself, candlelit, go in, don't take out your phone, have your phone on the table and just sit in the moment for 2 hours. Like you have to be able to do those sort of things. And so I think when I finally realized like, okay, like I'm totally content just being by myself. Like I can go on there are sometimes I don't interact with another human for 2 or 3 days. Like I'll go a weekend in Austin here and I'll go on my run, I'll do my workouts, I'll watch some movies around the apartment, I'll edit some videos. And Monday morning comes and I'm like, wait, I haven't interacted with another person since Friday at work. And so it's a crazy thing to think about that. Think about the last time in your life that you went 2 days without interacting with someone else, whether it be family, friends. It's probably a while.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it takes almost a situation like that to happen to really feel like, all right, well, where are the gaps? Like, where are the gaps in Anthony? Like, okay, like I've spent this much time alone. And when you spend that much time alone, you start to realize what you like and what you don't like, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, because you're truly being stretched as thin as possible. You're not filling these voids every here, like, oh, I'm bored. Let me go hang out with some friends. Well, no, if I'm bored, let me figure out what I want to do by myself, because that's what's going to make me happy. And that's what's going to bring me value long term.
Interesting.
And so go ahead.
Would you say that's the most defining moment of your life? Like that time when you went abroad? Or is there another thing that's like, boom, I got to change?
I would say the moment abroad, definitely, like it's such a broad term, but I mean, no, there was some moments in college, like there's some small ones here or there where, I mean, we all experience these. You wake up from a night of drinking and you're not happy with who you are and how things have been. And so I really think the moment abroad where I just kind of took the leap of faith, that's what kind of solidified of, okay, like I've just now met all these new people. I've been in all these new places. I've experienced all these new things. And I finally found something that I love doing and I enjoy. And I found peace with being by myself. I don't need someone else, fill this void for me. And I think that's what kind of flipped the switch as, okay, like I'm going to do what matters to me. Like I'm going to go and make decisions based off my goals. And I think that was kind of the mindset that switched for me, is like just making decisions purely based off of your goals and values, because we all have free will. People say, oh, I'm not happy working this job, or I'm not happy doing this. Well, you can change that. People are like, oh, I want to live by the ocean. Well, what's stopping you? Oh, the job I have now is, well, if you love your job, then don't move to the ocean. But if you want to move to the ocean, you'll find a way to make that happen, because that's what's going to make you happy long term, one way or another. And so I think a lot of people, it's tough for them to really wrap their head around just trusting your heart and your mind and following those decisions that truly make you happy. Like if you get a feeling to do something, inherently follow that feeling, follow that urge, because that's you. No one else can understand that besides yourself. And so I think that really that 3-month trip kind of unlocked that for me of, hey, whatever I want to do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make these decisions for me, because I know that these are decisions that only I can experience myself. So I should be the one making them.
Respect. And self-trust is not an easy thing. Like I just dealt with it. It's smaller scale, but it's school. Like I come into school and everybody around me, I mean, they're going investment banking, they're going consulting, they're going to these huge companies. And so I just got wrapped into that. And I'm like, do I really want to be the one kid that studies marketing and goes into sales or has a passion for psychology when everybody's making 6 figures out of college? They're working for Goldman Sachs. And so I studied finance, and then I realized that I was freaking miserable. And then you make the switch and you finally get that self-trust and you're like, okay, I have confidence in myself. I need to do what I want to do. Otherwise, someday down the future, I'm going to be miserable. And I think a lot of it also stems from like the money part too.
Yeah.
I'm a very firm believer. Like if you're doing something that genuinely makes you happy and you love it, you're gonna have plenty of money someday.
Yeah. No, I think you, Anthony, I'm so glad you said that because I think you have a mindset that truly it takes a lot of other people to realize because a year ago today, I'm a senior in college.
Hmm.
I was completely money driven, like most other people would be. You say, oh, like I might not be the happiest at this job, but it's going to pay me a good bit. It's going to pay me six figures. It's going to pay me this, and that'll lead to happiness. And our parents always tell us, hey, like money doesn't buy happiness, like that's, and you're like, oh, that's a bunch of hodgepodge. Like, give me 100 grand, I promise you, I'll be happy. And dude, I applaud you because I think like, especially in college, I don't know anyone, myself included, that realize that money really doesn't lead to that happiness, to that fulfillment, especially in terms of working a career. And, I mean, because I'd love to understand a little bit more about how you came to that conclusion yourself, because that's something I think is a big revelation. Like, I know that was something in my life that I kind of had like 7, 8 months ago. That's why I started content. But as a college student, like that's something not a lot of people have because you're never really experienced
Right.
in a full-time job yet. So most people don't have that time to really think about maybe money isn't the most important aspect. So I kind of want to understand where you kind of had this revelation because that's awesome.
That's the thing because you don't experience it. I've had
Exactly.
two. I've had two internships where I sat at that desk for 8 hours a day, and I literally just wanted to. I could not. It was the worst feeling in the world, and I told my parents there is no amount of money. I don't care if I'm broke, if I'm homeless, I'm sleeping on the street. You cannot pay me X amount of money to keep doing this. Like I'm genuinely miserable. It's the worst feeling in the world. And once you really experience that, that's why I
Yeah.
always say like there is no such thing as a bad internship or a bad job or bad experience. Because
Yes, dude.
even if it's bad, like first of all, you're gonna learn something. But second of all, you're gonna learn that this is not your path. And just knowing that and have a little bit of confidence and certainty to trust your gut goes a long way. But there's one more thing I'll say, Chase. I want to get your point on this. I
Yeah.
think money is not the root cause. I think the root cause is social status, a feeling of importance, and like attention. I think that's a bigger driver than money. And that's why you want to see kids, because what does money give you? It gives you that status,
Yeah.
approval. And that's why people, including myself at the time, and still do, like status drives everybody, wants to do these crazy big things.
Yeah, because especially like in college too, like senior year's coming up, everyone's talking about, oh, like where are we working, who has jobs where, how much you making. And so for someone to be able to walk in that circle and be like, oh, like I'm making X amount at this company, it's almost like you said, there's a deeper root cause of it. And it's like that status of being able to have the confidence, like, oh, like I work at Goldman Sachs, I'm going to be
Right.
making 150,000 next year. Like, and it's almost one of those things that, oh, more people will like you then because you have that status. So that's a good call out. I think that's like a really good root problem of that whole money thing. So I like that a lot, dude.
Yeah. Human nature is an interesting thing. It's very fascinating though. But anyway, let's get into your childhood.
Yeah,
So
let's dive into that.
going all the way back, where'd you grow up?
All the way back. Grew up outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in a city called Woodstock.
Hmm.
It's a suburb about 45 minutes north of Atlanta. Really great town. Suburbs of Atlanta are a great place. It's just kind of scattered all over. Lived there my entire life, all 22 years up until I moved to Austin when I was 23. So yeah, spent the entirety of my childhood in Georgia.
Okay. What was your relationship like with your parents? Like were they strict? Were they like, Chase, you got to do this? Or Chase, be yourself, have fun, explore different things? What did that dynamic look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when I was younger, I always thought my parents were quote unquote strict per se because they they always had me tell them everywhere that I was going at all times. And they made me like, Chase, if you're going somewhere, you better tell us. Like Life 360 on your phone, like all of that stuff. And I never really understood that. And it's something that I hate now because I so undervalue and underappreciated how much they truly cared for me. And now it's different. Like now I truly see it now. And we've always had the best relationship. Even then, everything was perfect. But I think now as I've gotten older and I can see everything when a parent is being quote unquote strict is coming from love. It's coming from they care about you. They want to know where you're at in case something goes wrong. They want to be aware of where their child is. Like that is a completely normal thing. And I think it was one of those things that I never really could wrap my head around. But other than that, yeah, growing up, I mean, family has still been the most important aspect
Yeah.
of my life. I would say right now, like, tell me a girl that knows me better than anyone. I'd say my mom. She's my best friend. Like me and her, when I was solo traveling last year in Europe, I could have texted any of my buddies. I could have texted any of my girl space friends to come like meet me. Like, oh, I'm having such a good time out in Europe right now. Like, I'm having so much fun. Come join me. No, I texted my mom and I was like, hey, mom, like, do you want to come out to Greece with me? Like, let's do this. I'm having a great time by myself, but would love to have you here. We made it happen. And I mean, yeah, like truly, like it put me and her on a bus for 40 hours and neither of us will shut our eyes once because we'll be talking the whole time. So yeah, great relationship throughout our whole life.
What about as a kid? Like when I was a kid, my biggest goal is like, man, I want to play professional baseball. I loved Ryan Braun. He's my favorite player. And that's all I want to do and be. And it like shaped me and everything I did. What'd you want to be as a kid?
Yeah, and weirdly enough, as a kid, I really wanted to be an architect, which I don't think most kids want to be, but it sounds so weird. I loved buildings, like cool buildings, tall buildings. And I didn't really understand at the time. I just knew like when I was a kid, we'd be in the car. I'd be like pointing out the window, like, oh, like look at that building. Or like cities to me were the most fascinating thing ever. I mean, they still are.
Yeah.
And so I think the curiosity as a kid, like, how was that made? They're like, look at this tall building. Like, oh my God, I want to be the one that designs that or builds that. And like, I had such a creative mind for wanting to designing like things.
Yeah.
And so growing up, I always thought like, oh, I'll be an architect. Like that'll be the career path I go into. Surely if I'm creative enough, then I can make it. But yeah, that was kind of where my younger self, quote unquote, had. It wasn't as cool as being a professional baseball player. I'll tell you that, dude.
Well, it didn't work out, so it don't matter.
I mean, hey, listen, the Braves aren't doing so hot right now. So like, I don't know, maybe they'll give you a call soon enough. I know one team that'll give you your number.
Kelnick, right? Kelnick on the Braves.
Yes.
I played with his brother in high school. Like we went to the same hitting facility.
You're joking.
That guy's a stud. No, I'm dead serious. Stud.
Dude, that's crazy.
he's a very, very hard worker and like a very serious guy, but a lot of respect for him. All right. So when I look at you right now, Chase, and I think about childhood, you kind of give like rule breaker vibes. Were you someone who broke the rules and did himself, or were you a little more strict?
It's like it's weird. When I was a child, I was someone who, in the best way possible, I always wanted to be in quote unquote control or have a say in whatever the situation was. I was the one kind of instigating every little situation, like middle school, like, oh, like, let's go ding dong ditching 3 a.m. Like, let's go wake up people that are sleeping that are like 50 years old. Like, I was always the one that was rallying the group, whether that be for good or bad, but to get people out to do something like, hey, we're just sitting here. Like, let's go do something. Like, even there's videos back on VHS tapes of me and my cousins when we're like 7 years old. Like, we are young. And it's me like getting up on a stage, like almost preaching to them, like, come on, guys, like we have to go play with our toys down there. Like what? Like, but I was always someone that was kind of rallying. I don't know if necessarily it was always in a bad way, rule breaking, but there was some kind of, adrenaline that comes with that. I was more so, I would say, just a leader when I was a little kid. So.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so that's childhood. That's Chase in childhood. Chase in high school. Like you get to high school, where are your priorities? Do you have goals? Are you trying to have fun? What did that look like?
Yeah, and dude, so transfer. I'll be vulnerable here. I'll be honest. My high school experience, people love their high school experience. I honestly I did not enjoy my high school experience one bit. It was one of those things. I'm so grateful that it happened. But I look back on it now and I missed out on so many friendships, activities, relationships, so many things. And for better or for worse, I was in a relationship all 4 years of high school, all 4 years of high school. And it was one of those things that I didn't really know how to balance. It was someone that went to a different school, and she's the best. She still is the best. Like, love her to death. It was one of those things though where she went to a different school. So everyone at my school, my friends I surrounded myself with, Friday night lights, like Friday night football games, like hanging out on the weekends. My priorities were lying with her because, that's, young love, honeymoon phase. That's where my head is at. And I missed out on all of these Friday night football games. All of my friends, like in high school, when they're building these friendships, like that is when you really start building your friendships with your group of people, like that you make lifelong friends with. I was just kind of putting them all to the side because I was so focused on my relationship and my relationship only. It's not bad to be focused on your relationship and be putting in all your effort. But the problem was is I wasn't putting any effort anywhere else.
Right.
And so my high school experience was very much just me not liking my school, like me just kind of passing by. Honestly, the only thing I really enjoyed about high school was, being on the basketball team. That gave me a sense of community there and gave me a sense of involvement. But it was one of those things like when you're in a relationship, which it was I think 5.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a long one. That does a lot to you. That does a lot too. You think that you're going to spend your life with this person, and so you start putting things to the side preemptively before even giving other things a chance. And so I think my high school experience was something that, yeah, it was. I didn't drink at all. I never had an ounce of alcohol. In times I wish I would have. When all my best friends like, oh, like sneaking into the basement of your parent, like stuff like that, like going to someone's house, like carrying the bottles down the stairs, like I missed out on all of those good nights because I was so focused on other things that I just wasn't really prepared for.
So, do you think that, like, I don't know if you had a relationship in college, but do you think that that relationship right there and missing out on all this time where you could build up a friend group and experience this wild, free side of yourself, do you think being cuffed for that long and regretting not making the most out of your memories has kind of strayed you away from another relationship, at least right now?
Yeah, no, and I mean, that's it because so I still like context. Like after we ended, I have yet to be in another relationship since that ended. I have dated one person and one person only, and it was her for those 5.5 years. Since then, I have probably gone on a total of maybe one or two dates,
Wow.
maybe total in the last like 4 or 5 years, because like you said, it is one of those things that truly going back to earlier when you said a moment where where like what changed.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, that Europe experience that changed a lot for where I am right now. But that relationship ending was something that was the switch that flipped in my head. That was like you need to focus on yourself now. Like you need to only do what's good for you. And that was 5 years ago, 4.5. Yeah, like that was like 4 years ago. And in those 4 years, I've been on one or two dates total, which is not what I want. Like I want to, I want to go on dates. I want to, be with people. And the problem is I'm so scarred from that and worried about like giving time and effort
Yeah.
out of myself, out of my routine, out of the structure of everything I have because I saw how it was before and I saw how disconnected I got. I saw the blinders that were put on my head when I was in this relationship.
Dude, that's so real because so I had a I had a long distance relationship my first 2 years of college, and then it ended. And like
Jeez, dude.
the girl's great. It's like heartbreak. I tell everybody that it's heartbreak. I'm like,
Dude,
you're
two
gonna go.
years is a long time.
It it was well, that was 2 years of college. It was like 3 years, but
Cool.
it's like heartbreak. It's the purest form of motivation. You're gonna go through a crazy transformative like time. But after that breakup, I'm looking inward and I'm like, holy shit, I have so much that I have to work on in myself. There
Yeah.
is no shot I could ever have another girlfriend anytime soon because I can't even give full, like, I can't give myself to another person when I don't even
Yes,
know
dude.
myself. But that mindset right now is ingrained in my head. I'm like, I am not going into a relationship. I'll go on dates. I'll have fun. Zero time for a relationship. But I'm trying to figure out, like, for us both,
Yeah.
at some point, we have to flip the switch. When do you think it's going to be time to flip the switch, and what's that going to take?
Dude. Anthony, I just want to say one. Sorry about that. I always hate relationship ending stories, but I do believe that, like you said earlier, like there are no bad quote unquote decisions or things that happen. They all lead us to where we are today.
Right.
Our quote unquote failures teach us more than our success, and like you said, it taught you everything inside that you didn't realize you had to fix. It taught you that those are things you had to work on. So one, I'm so glad that you kind of had a very similar experience to me as well. Love you for that. And two, that's the question you're asking me right now is the question that I have been asking myself for the past kind of 3 or 4 months. When I got out to Austin, I was not doing content at all. I'd post like content here and there about my travels and stuff, but I had my day job and that was it. So I had time, and I had time willing to give to my hobbies and to go on dates and stuff like that. And then I started doing content. And once the content started, my time got less and less and less and less, to the point where now the people I spend my time with now, like I have to be extremely, extremely careful and picky about where I'm putting that time because there's very little of it in a week. And so to answer the question, I think when that switch needs to be flipped is at a point where I think it's at a point where we have to almost set it ourselves, because if you say, oh, like once things cool down or once I figured myself out or once we've gotten less busy, I know you as well as me, like we could go on this track forever of just keeping busy, staying busy, doing more work, doing this. And it's almost something that like you have to put a boundary in place. And I think that's something that I need to work towards of, okay, like I will never make time to go on dates and, try and build a relationship unless I set it. I can say like, oh, when my time frees up, then I'll make time for it. But no, like that's not going to happen unless I intentionally set time aside to do that.
Right.
And so I think it's one of those things where incorporating almost like into my weekly routine is like, okay, I'm going to try and meet 2 to 3 new people. I'm going to ask for 2 to 3 new numbers. I'm going to try and go on at least like one date every other week, hopefully with the same person, progressively more and more and more. But like, I think for me, it has to be one of those things that I have to be intentional about it and not just say, oh, like, when I get more time, when I get less busy, then no. Put it on your calendar. Like make it a point to make it a part of your schedule. Because like you said, like we could go 5, 6, 7 years down the line and be like, wait, we missed out on a lot of the good times to date, to meet women that are very compatible with us, that share the same hobbies as us, that do the same things as us, because we were just so honed in on only the things that we were doing. So I think it's a great question.
Do you think that, because like I'm thinking it from my perspective too, but do you think that posting content and getting all this attention and this fame, you think that's going to be a roadblock or have some negative consequence for a future partner?
Oh, 100%. And it's one of those things where, and I realize this the past couple months when like I'll meet people on the street a lot and they'll come up to me, and it's weird because people know almost everything about my life.
Right.
Yet, and in the best way possible, I know nothing about most people's life because I don't interact with them. A lot of people don't post content. So when people meet me for the first time, I'm truly meeting them for the first time. However, them meeting me for the first time, they already have a pretty good idea in their head built up about what I'm going to be like, who I am going to be as a person, almost like a stereotype. Given I'm glad that the content I put out is very, very authentic to who I actually am. So it's not something where they can kind of make a false judgment. Yeah. But still, everyone has, a mind of their own. Everyone thinks differently. So when people meet me and in a future relationship as well, that could very well be something where it might drive people away because they feel like they already have a preconceived notion about who I am. And that makes them not want to talk to me because you can watch someone through a screen all you want, but until you interact with them in person, you see their body language, you're vibing each other out. Like, you really don't know what that's like. And I think a lot of people also just, there is a bad kind of stigma that comes around with like, oh, like an influencer, content creator, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's something that I hate those words and hate those terms, because I truly believe like the people that are actually putting entertainment and value out there, like we're all just doing it to better ourselves and provide value to others. Right. But there is that quote unquote negative turn of it, like an influencer, that people are like, oh, like, I don't want to be with someone like that, or, oh, they're just so like self-absorbed. So yeah, I would say there is a lot of kind of negative connotations that do come on with that. But I think in order for me to be okay with posting content, then I have to understand that, hey, if someone is going to be with me, I want them to be with me for who I am. And that means accepting of my lifestyle, of what I'm doing, of posting content, of everything. I don't want to have to try and explain myself to them or change that, just like I would never want to do for them.
Yeah. What about this? So when I say negative consequence, that's one part. Also this part, like, you have a social presence. So do you ever fear now maybe approaching someone or showing interest? Because first of all, let's just say rejection, it's ego. Oh my God, I rejected Chase Ridgeway. Yeah. Post a video. Or people see that. Boom. Or it's like, oh, maybe she asked me for a picture. So now the dynamic is switched. Like, I'm Chase, and now she's a fan. And it's like, oh, maybe I'm interested, but she's asking me for a picture and she's a fan. Like, I'm starting to experience some of this stuff too. And I'm like trying to figure it all out. It's just like, it's a clusterfuck. So I'm trying, like, yeah. What's your opinion on that?
Dude, that's, and the first one, you're so real for that one, because it's one of those things where I even have to now, like, I have to watch what I do in public. Not that I'm like doing anything bad, but like, let's say the city's empty, you know, city apocalypse wipes out the city, or so I think. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick my nose today. No one's in the city of Austin. I'm going to pick my nose. And then, oh, lo and behold, there's a couple people that made it through the apocalypse. They catch me on camera, put it online. Chase Ridgeway picks nose. I'm done for. Like, just the other day alone, I was in Whole Foods, just shopping, doing my groceries. I get home. I open up TikTok, as one would, and I scroll. I'm like 5 videos in, and I'm like, oh, that's me in Whole Foods. That is me in Whole Foods. Like, someone was recording, like, just stuff like that is like, I feel like I have eyes on me in a lot of places, which is a good thing. But I always love when people approach me. But to your point, it's like, there is that fear of almost rejection. Like, oh, I rejected Chase Ridgeway. It's like, let's say I approach someone and doesn't go well. They can then blast that out on the internet and put my name out there in a bad way. Or I talk to someone, or let's say we go on a couple dates. Things don't go well. They now have the freedom, as they should, to go out and say what they want about their experience and everything. And if they put out like, oh, like, Chase was terrible, this, and this, which I hope would never be someone's experience, but that could very well be the case. And because so many people know me and know my name, now I'm broadcasted in a bad way across the internet. So I know I would love to get kind of your opinion on this as well, as someone who's also trying to navigate like how to go about like negative connotation of, okay, how do I put myself out there and make attempts to meet people without it biting me in the butt?
I think, like, one thing, I'll tell you the story. So I was in my leadership class, and we had this guest speaker come in, and he was talking about how he's working this corporate job, and he was working with this client, and they were the worst client in the world. Like, he hated these guys. And so on an email chain, he sent a note to his coworker saying like, yo, these guys suck, something like that. The client was copied on the email chain. So the client saw this. This got brought up all the way to the president. This guy goes into the president's office and just gets chewed out. He said it was the most humiliating experience of his life. But the one lesson that he took away from it is going on, moving forward. Anything he says, any text message he sends, any email he sends, he's preparing that this could show up on the front cover of the New York Times. And I think that's such a freaking good analogy with some of the stuff, like once you start going in social media, because no matter what you text, send, email, out in public, like you always have to be on your best behavior.
Yeah.
And so That's always in the back of your head. The rejection thing though, like, yeah, part of me thinks like I'm afraid of rejection. Like straight
Yeah.
out. I don't like being rejected. And it's you know what it is? It's like a punch on the ego. And there's obviously something from my childhood or something from high school that like made me fear this rejection of like a girl rejecting me or a stranger rejecting me. I don't know what that is, but it's something I struggle with, and like I'm not afraid to admit it. But it's good to realize it and try to grow from it.
Yeah. Do you think you've had a rejection, like a big one in your life that you can think of? Or do you think this is, like you said, it's stemming from something else that you can't quite put your finger on? Or even, it could even be from something else,
Yeah.
like another ego hit, like an event, an embarrassing event that happened where your ego took a hit. You fell in a water fountain on campus or something like that. And it's just that same sort of feeling of like, you don't want that feeling of taking an ego hit to happen again. I
Yeah,
don't know if there's like a canon event that's happened in that area or.
it's a great question. I think like I've always been the very shy kid. Like I remember when I was a kid, like I'd be the one like I'm sitting behind my mom. I don't want to say hi. That's just kind of been like my genetics, like the shy, unconfident kid, not very social. But I always wanted to be this charismatic person.
Well,
Like I
dude, look
watched
at you
these
now.
videos and watch these people communicate and have this presence, and it's like I want to be this person. So I studied like so much charisma stuff on YouTube and whatever, but I've also always been like the girlfriend guy. Like I always had a girlfriend, which was like I never had to meet girls or do that. And then once you end that and you're in the game, well shit, I don't know how to play the game. And so I go
Yeah.
up and oh, there was definitely times in like high school. Dude, I was so cringy, bro. Like there's this one girl that I was crushing on so hard and she wanted nothing to do with me, and I made such a fool out of myself. Like I'll give you one example.
Yeah.
Bro, this was junior year high school. I thought this girl was so hot. She obviously wasn't screwing around with me. Like it was known that I liked her. She didn't like me. And we were just Snapchatting. She'd leave me undelivered for like 3 days in a row, and then boom, I'd respond in an instant.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's one night where I don't know what caused me to do this, but like I was about to go to bed, and I just texted her good night. Like like three
Oh,
days.
out of nowhere.
I just texted
Like
her good night.
you just sent the good night text. Like no prefix, no
Nope.
prior conversation. You just good nighted it right there.
And she sends back a snap, and it's just like the most disgusting
Ah.
face. It actually still haunts me to this day. But I don't know.
Dude,
That's
there we go. That's the canon event right there. That's the event right there. The preemptive good night text.
so I guess
Um,
that's where the
well,
rejection stems from.
you saved me from ever sending that too. So because who knows?
No.
I'm still, and I think part of it too is I think because we're in a similar boat here, because we were both in such long relationships. Like you said, we didn't have time to play the game, so to speak. We didn't have time to go through getting rejected and going on all these dates and trying out like having different girlfriends here and there and like learning out what we like. We were so committed for so long.
Mm.
So we haven't really gotten as many at bats as like people being told no. It's like I said, I've only been on one or two dates in the past 3 or 4 years because like I don't know, I've never really been told no before. I don't want to be told no. It's because
Exactly.
I don't have experience. Like I started dating when I was like 15, 16. And then so I never like the prime years of our lives where most people are going out,
Yeah.
asking people out a lot. They're really finding out what they're like. Me and you, we were both in that situation where we were kind of missing out on that. It was like almost our prime in life for the dating experience. And we were missing out on that. So I think we have kind of missed out on that. We just haven't had as many as at bats at it. And I think that's what's I'm kind of realizing.
I wonder if this though, because both of us too, we're just like, oh, we need to focus on ourselves. And someday down the road, that's when we'll date again. That's when we do it. But how much of that stems from, yeah, maybe I need to focus on myself, but I actually don't want to put myself out there and have a chance to be rejected. That's actually
Yeah.
100% the case with me. Is it the same with you a little bit?
Um, I think it's like half and half because like I think putting myself out there, I think like honestly, yeah, because I think it's we've spent so much time. I've spent so much time years working on myself, trying to become the best version professionally, personally, in all aspects of my life. I feel like I've really perfected who I am. I have a lot to bring to the table.
Mm.
So after working on myself for so long, and then to just go out and be like, no, you're good. That's like, wow, really? I just spent 3 years and you told me I'm like, no. So yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as you, where it's like we spent so much time. Like, yes, our last relationships, they ended, and it gave us time to correct those mistakes and fix the things we need to fix. All right, we've corrected them, we've fixed them, so we should be good now, right?
Yeah.
No. It's like if I get told no now, well, then it's like, all right, well, back to the drawing board. Let me go work on myself for another 3 years down the line, and then I'll try again. Like,
So never.
so I think, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one.
All right. So finishing up on the topic of relationships, like one thing that long distance relationship taught me is it taught me what's important to have in a partner, like my values in a relationship. If there's a girl listening to this right now and she's like, I want to date Chase Ridgeway,
Yeah.
what values does your future wife, future girlfriend have to have?
Yeah, that's great question. I would say really just the ability to be authentic
Mm.
in the terms of really, really, really not having to feel like they have to form to me. When I meet someone, I want them to be as like, if they don't want to wear makeup, don't wear makeup. If they want to like go to the dog park for a first date, like let's go to the dog park.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people nowadays are so caught up in like, all right, let's go to dinner, drinks. That'll be the first date. That's like really what it is. I have to look super nice and put on this thing. It's like when I meet someone, I want them to be their most authentic self, and I want that to come across. So that's number one. I feel like that's across the board. What a lot of people want is for someone to just be authentic, like whole in. Number two is I really want to meet someone. I think the qualities for me is someone who is both adventurous, active, always on the go. I think being busy as well as someone else that's being busy, when you have two busy people, I think that complements it really well because it's someone that can get you. And then it makes it easier when you're working long days or they're working long days. You're not getting mad at each other because you understand what they're going through and the things they have going on in their life. And it gives you a chance at the end of the day to come together and connect over things. And I think that's something that a lot of people, they don't like when someone else is super busy. And I think it comes off as, oh, like they work too hard or they don't have enough time for me, where it's like, no, like, again, it goes back to one of the first things I said earlier is like, the person you're with shouldn't complete you. You should complete yourself, and they should be an addition onto that. That just makes you that much better. And so it's one of those things where you always want to be working on yourself. I want to be working on myself, and then someone just comes in and they add these aspects to my life that I didn't know I needed, and they are okay with, me being myself. And really, like, when it comes down to it, I'm very simple in terms of like, I just want someone authentic, very personable, okay, like having fun, doing like weird stuff. Like my biggest thing is I don't want alcohol to be involved in a lot of dates or a lot of activities.
Mm.
I'll drink alcohol a lot, but I feel like now it's so much where relationships are built off of. These first couple dates are always something around food, alcohol, and there's not enough like variance from that. So much, especially now, like living in a city, everything I do, people ask me to do revolves around alcohol. Like, do you want to go out tonight? Or, hey, let's get a group together and go out tonight. Like, how about we go to the park and play cards or something? Like, what happened to stuff like that? Or, hey, let's go on a drive out in the hills or something. And I think a lot of times, both guys and girls, a lot of times, a lot of relationships start out and dates are built off of just the substance of alcohol needing to be present in it because it makes you relax, it takes the pressure off the dates, and it gives kind of an easy route to have fun.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I want to get to know someone without any alcohol involved whatsoever. And then once we like know each other, like, sure, yeah, let's go get some drinks here and there. But like, I want to get to know someone for their most authentic self. I don't want us to be, half drunk, half buzzed on wine, whatever you want to call it. So we're loosened up and it's easier to talk. Like, no, I want it to be awkward. I want there to be moments of silence between us where we're like, why is this so awkward? Like that is the part that I like. And so I think having someone that likes activities that just don't revolve around alcohol, especially in today's day and age. I think it's such a big culture that people revolve their weekends around. It's like live for the weekend so we can just drink and do this. And like most of the people I meet, that's what their life revolves around. And it's not a bad thing at all. It's just something where what I'm looking at for a person of myself, I want to align on something like that.
Dude, mad respect for that. I've never actually heard a young person, let alone a 23-year-old who's living in this big city, ever say that. Like, what got you to that mindset? It sounds like did something happen that's just like, screw this. I need to meet people authentically.
Yeah, I think it was because, like, as I said, I haven't really been on like too many dates here and there. Just tried to stray away from that, but I did have like one kind of not a bad experience. It was a good experience, but it was actually one of my first dates when I came out to Austin. I was here for like 2 weeks. I was like, no, I just moved to the city. Let me try and go on a date. I don't know anyone here. I moved here by myself. I need to figure something out. And me and this girl, we went on a date. It was good. We went on a walk, picked up a bottle of wine at Trader Joe's. Like everything was good. It was fun. We drank the bottles of wine and everything was good. And we were just talking, hang out. And I thought like I really liked her. Like I thought this was really good. And the next day I woke up feeling a little hungover, typical. And she asked me if I wanted to hang out again. I was like, yeah, I would love to. We hang out again. And I realized it wasn't the same. The feelings that I had were almost masked by the alcohol. Like it was adding an element of fun that wasn't initially there because we just weren't ourselves. Like, yes, we were ourselves inherently, but there was that layer of alcohol added on top of it. And I think the more that I realized that, the more like I want to be around people that, yes, we can have a fun time drinking, but I want to get to know you for who you are first. Let's establish friendship and do stuff like that. Right. And then let's go do stuff like that. I don't want our friendships to be built off of, we go out, get blackout drunk one night and we're all buddy, yeah. And that's what our friendship is built off of. Like, sure, yes, like that can happen. But that one event really kind of like tipped off of my mind. Like, wow, like
interesting.
I thought I had a much better time. Like I thought I knew this person differently than I do now. It's different now that we're walking in a park sober as opposed to last night just sitting wine drunk. Like two totally different sides of the spectrum.
I agree with that 100%. All right. Well, that was a very fun conversation about relationships. Yeah. I want to share something with you. So yeah, and I think you saw this because I think you commented on this. A girl made a post about you and she titled it The Chase Ridgeway Effect. So what the Chase Ridgeway effect is, first of all, she said that she absolutely loved you. You were her favorite content creator. And she described it like this. He said, Chase makes you feel like you're just best friends. And she goes like, I literally feel like I know him. So like for people who are me right now in the audience, if there was a formula for the Chase Ridgeway effect, what would that formula be? How do I make people feel like we're just best friends from day one?
Yeah, and one, I just want to say, I know the exact video you are talking about. To this day, that video is saved in my phone. I reached out to her. That was, to this day, no matter how many hate comments I get, that video alone is enough to keep me posting for the rest of my life if I need to be. Like someone like that, when I saw that, I probably watched it 50 times. I almost cried. Like I said it to both my parents, and I just couldn't believe that someone out there felt like they could really know me from who I am. And that's all I really want from this. And the way that I go about this, and I think the way that more people should post content is like when you're recording, whatever it is, and I think you do a really good job of this as well. Like I think this is where you shine in talking about everything in your life and all the aspects and all the advice you have to give, is people are trying to quote unquote go viral. They're trying to blow up. They're trying to get famous. They're trying to make money. They are trying to gain more followers instead of starting working backwards. Where, okay, what do I like? What do I enjoy? instead of taking 10 clips of this video and taking 10 different, like, let me just record who I am. So the way that I go about that, like when I record my day in the life stuff, when I set up my camera or do whatever, that's not me acting or doing anything or taking 10 takes. I just set it up and I'm doing exactly what I would normally do. And because it looks almost like awkward and not like all professional and super this, that's just me. It doesn't feel scripted. Or when someone is making a video talking about some advice, when everything is perfect and every word is perfect and everything feels like, as the viewer, it feels almost scripted. It doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
Because people feel like they have to put out the most perfect content with the perfect script that hits all the right viral points. Or, oh, if I use this hashtag or I use this song, I'll go viral. When it comes down to no, like if you want to go viral, if that's really your goal, then start from the beginning and start growing an audience. Start growing people that know you. Because if people know you, they will watch you for you, and that'll compound. People will make one viral video that'll have 10 million likes. They'll record their dog taking a crap outside, and everyone's like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Video gets 10 million likes. The next day they post a video of them like sweeping or doing something normal, like gets 30 likes. Why? Because that one video is just an anomaly. They're not being consistent. That just wasn't like, you have to be consistent with it, and you have to post like your authentic self. Like just because one video goes viral, one video doesn't go good, like post what you enjoy and post often. As you know, Anthony, like this is why I love your content so much, is like you are talking, you are always just saying, like you're keeping it real. You're telling stories. You're giving advice that you have learned throughout your years, and you're providing value to the viewers. And I think a lot of people, they want to do what you do, but they feel like they have to have some sort of script, and they feel like they have to have the perfect thing to say. Whereas no, I'm watching you make your bed in the morning, telling me about your night out last night, or how you had an active morning, but you have to go to a fraternity thing later. Like you're just talking about your life, but I know you because that's your life. You're not trying to make it some extravagant, huge thing. Like you're just saying, all right, this is me. This is Anthony. And I feel like I know you through your content, and that's why I watch it. So I think if you can just start out, if you're someone that really wants to be strategic about it, the Chase Ridgeway effect. How do I make sure people know me? Well, post who you are. Like, don't edit it. Don't filter it. Like, post who you are. Don't be afraid.
Respect, dude. So I think one thing that people get caught up in, and I do too, because I'm obsessed with human nature, bro. Like human psychology and influence, persuasion. It just fires me up inside.
Yeah.
Like part of it is there is some strategy to a script at the start to like people. Like, do you think that out at all, or are you just literally, boom, I'm going, oh, here's the thing.
Yeah. So because really the first 5 seconds of the video is always the most important. Yeah. And in terms of like thinking out how I'm going to do that, I really like not too much goes into it. Cause again, like I try and keep it authentic. The thing I will do is I try and change up where I start my videos like every so often, because my videos I make a lot of it like the same videos about my day and stuff. And so if I was always just starting my video, like waking up in my bed every morning, well, that wouldn't it'd be the same video over and over and over. Yeah. Whereas, okay, like, no, today I'm going to do something different. Like, and it forces you to almost do something different. Like, all right, today I posted a video yesterday where, I went on a walk, I did this. Well, today, you know what? I need to do something different. Like I need to go indoor skydiving, which is what I did yesterday. Like I need to do something to, film some different content, like film something in my life. So I think those first 5 seconds, I always try and start it out somewhere different. Like maybe today I'll start on the couch. Like I'll work the last 30 minutes of my job on my couch and then just film myself ending there. Or maybe I'll go to a coffee shop here. Yeah. But you want to keep it authentic. But yeah, those first 5 seconds are pretty important.
So part of the Chase Ridgeway effect, though, it's charisma. Like you have a very, very magnetic, charismatic person. and I've got a lot of respect for it. But like for the person who's myself a couple years ago, or who's that kid in high school and college is like shy and confident, like, I want to be more like Chase. I want to be able to have conversations, get people to like me, have that magnetic effect. What's your advice to them?
I would say if you want to get people to like you, absolutely absolutely love when people don't like you, and absolutely love and embrace the feeling of people not liking you. That is what really switched for me, is when I started becoming more and more of myself. I could tell someone didn't like that. Maybe one of my close friends wasn't necessarily a fan with that. They had some other feelings. Good. Well, thank you. That is not someone that I need in my life. Someone else will maybe come along. And it's the moment you become more and more comfortable when other people are uncomfortable with you, that's what helps you become more like yourself. And that's the energy that you then radiate. The more that I understood that I'm not going to please everyone, that's when I started to kind of grow into my skin of, okay, if I'm not going to please anyone, at least let me try and please myself and do the things I want to do. And inherently, that energy will come across to someone else one way or another. When you're passionate about something, when you're confident about something, that confidence and that passion radiates across via screen, via in person. If you're comfortable with who you are, people respect that and people like that. If you're someone that you're kind of fidgety, you feel like you have to impress the people around you, that's what's not going to lead to that. But if you're yourself in a group and you can tell someone's maybe not vibing with you, good, be okay with that and own up to that. Be more comfortable with who you are. And then it makes it that much easier for someone to say, like, oh, wait, like this guy Chase, like he doesn't care. This guy doesn't like him. Like he really doesn't care. Like he's just being himself. Like people love seeing almost like a free spirit of someone just actually being their authentic self and really being okay when people don't like them.
Were there certain qualities of the way you dealt with people though, or maybe your personality, minus like not being comfortable alone? Were there certain qualities back in the day where you're just like sizing up someone else and you're like, man, this guy can talk to this person so well, or he gives the best handshake, whatever it was? Were there certain qualities that you identified that you're like, I need to improve, and you've worked relentlessly and you improved it to today?
Yeah, I think one of those things is when you're approaching people, and this comes especially like college and post grad too, like when you're meeting people, you got to approach them one way or another. They're approaching you, you're approaching them. College, post grad, like you're meeting people all the time. Like this is what it is. The easiest thing I've saw people do is like, instead of having like a plan or a script of like walking up to someone trying to say some like perfect line, with a girl trying to say some perfect pickup line, with a group of guys trying to like fit in.
Yeah.
You want to be friends with people that are like you, that make you better, that build you up. So when you're introducing yourself to people, it's always one of those things where I just walk up and I always either say a compliment or something, but I just start blapping. Like I just start talking about stuff. Like I'm like being a goofball, because if they vibe with my energy, then good, we'll be friends. If not, then good. Those are people that I need to be friends with in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you're almost weeding out the bad eggs, bad in the sense of not good for you. And it's when you approach people, people are like, okay, I see this girl over here. She's beautiful. I really like, how do I get her number? What's a good line and not be creepy? Like walk up to her. What came to mind when you saw that girl? When you saw that girl, what came to mind? Her hair looked good. Okay, walk up to her. Hey, you like just saw your hair, like look cool. Like don't want to be weird. Like I don't know how to talk to you right now. Like say like the amount of times I've walked up to people and been like, hey, like I'm not gonna lie, like I know nothing about you. You seem cool. I really don't know what to say right now. I just had to walk over here. People respect that. Yeah. Like people respect just like it lets people's guard down. I think so many people are trying to come up with these perfect things to say to meet people, when inherently they're probably thinking the same thing. Imagine you're standing across the room, group of guys is like, oh, he looks kind of cool. Or like, I want to go talk to him. You're probably thinking the same thing. Maybe a girl thinks you're cute. She's like, I don't know what to say to him, or I don't know what to say to her. Everyone has their own problems that they're worried about. Yeah. So when you realize that, you can approach people with the sense of like, yes, I'm worried. I'm nervous about stuff. Like I'm scared. And the more I saw these qualities in other people, it was just their confidence in who they were. They walked up to people like they're either going to like me or they're not. And if they don't like who I am, then great. Like that's totally okay. Those aren't people I want to be friends with.
Dude, when you said that, have you ever heard of Vanessa Van Edwards?
I don't think so. Vanessa Van Edwards?
She's amazing, but especially she calls herself a recovering awkward person. So she was this girl, very, very awkward, but she always wanted to be more charismatic. And essentially she runs like a course, and she's a TEDx speaker, and she goes on all these podcasts, and she teaches people charisma. She was just on Diary of a CEO podcast, and I was listening to her. And Stephen Bartlett, the host, asked her, like, Vanessa, when you go out on a date, like, or just relationship and meeting friends, like, what are your non-negotiables? And one of the first things she says is, I go to this one place that's like a very low maintenance restaurant. There's one thing on the menu. You can't order anything else.
Yeah.
Picky people, high maintenance people are going to hate it. But I take my friend there or my partner there, and we sit down and we talk. And I evaluate that if they're throwing a fit, if they're super high maintenance, if they're not going to like it. Because I know that if they're at that table throwing a fit, we're not going to be compatible. And so it's literally a weed out process. Exactly what you said. That's crazy, bro. And it's a fantastic strategy, because myself included, bro, like, people pleasing, and we try to tailor ourselves to other people to please them. But at the end, there is nothing stronger than just being fully comfortable in your own skin and self.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for that.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that even then, like, the amount of times that you walk up to a girl, you are comfortable being awkward, weird, goofy, you're comfortable being yourself. At least then, let's say it doesn't go your way. If she says no, like, oh, I'm not interested. You walk away from that, though, and she will respect the fact that you were yourself and you weren't trying to put on some facade, regardless of if it worked out or not. At least you're not going to leave a bad taste in someone's mouth, and they're going to have a positive connotation of you one way or another. Might not have worked out, but I mean, yeah.
Facts. What about personal development? And I know you get a lot of stuff around, like, how does this guy wake up so early every day? How does he have such a structured day? He's working a 9 to 5. He's getting brand deals. He's going out to the bar, having friends. Then he cooks up beef and bananas and he watches The Office. Yeah. How does this kid have all this time? Share us your secret.
Yeah, dude. And it's honestly, I think it's my most commonly asked thing is, how do you have so much time in the day? Or are we living different days? Or is this like fake, quote unquote? Like, there's no way you're doing all of this in one day. And what I would say to that is, I guarantee it, anyone watching, you have more time than me, probably, to do the things that I do every single day. The problem is there's so many pockets of free time that we have in our day that we just don't realize, because we are consumed by other things, whether that be scrolling on our phone, watching TV, maybe doing something. Like, there are so many pockets that we don't realize, that we don't take advantage of, that we could be putting towards other things. So what I did when I moved out to Austin, this was right when I started posting content. This was in October. I think I'd posted like 5 videos in a row. I was trying to figure out my schedule with TikTok. I was like, oh man, this is kind of work. Like, let me see where I can be allocating my time. I hadn't started running yet either. I was just going to the gym. I wanted to start running, but I was like, I don't think I have time to run. I just started posting a couple TikToks. I'm going to the gym. I'm working a full-time job. I want to make sure I'm doing good at my job. I just don't think I have time to run. So what I did was, I had my phone on me, and anytime I wouldn't have something to do, whether that be in between breakfast and brushing my teeth, or when I get home from my job, and then before I edit, I would just start a timer. And I would just start a timer. Like, I'd walk in the door. As soon as I walked in the door home from work, start the timer. Okay, I'd start the timer. I'd maybe go sit down, get on my phone for like 10 minutes, maybe go on the balcony, maybe lay in my bed for like a second, go on my computer, look at some stuff. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to film a video, stop the timer. And I did this over the course of a couple days and averaged it out of like how much time you're actually spending scrolling, doing stuff like that. And it was around like 3.5 hours every single day that I didn't actually have stuff to do. Because if you think about it, if you're in school or if you work, when you get done with a class, let's say you get out your last class at 2 p.m. Okay, what are you doing from 2 p.m. until 10 p.m.? Most likely you're not even going to bed at 10 p.m. That's 8 hours that you have in a day to do something. You could record and edit a video, and that'll take 2 hours. You could read half a book in 5 or 6 hours. Like, the amount of things that you could do that we just don't want to, because we're so accustomed to let me just sit down and take like an hour and scroll and maybe watch a movie or TV show. Like, yes, it's bad. Like, that's why I watch The Office. 20 minutes long. I watch an episode. That's it. I don't have a show that's like an hour and a half long, because I don't have time for that. Right. It's just one of those things where when I get home from work, I'm making sure that I'm busy from the moment I get home until the moment I'm about to go to bed. I make sure I fill my day with as many things that I value as possible. So when I'm busy, it's good busy. If you can fill up your day with things that you value, I value fitness, running, working out, my job, content. So my day is filled up with those things. I'm busy, but I'm okay being busy because those are things I enjoy. I think what people realize is there's so many things they want to do. There's so many hobbies that they have. They just haven't tried them out yet. They don't think they have the time. But when you actually put them aside and make it a priority, then you're going to make time for it. Your scrolling might go down because you're going to be busy doing other things, but your values and your passion for other things will go up.
Well, I guess the follow-up would be though, like you come in and you sit in an office all day. Like I did this over the summer. Dude, your energy drained.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sitting here like this. I guess the follow-up is like, how do you have enough energy to do all this stuff?
Yeah, that's a great one. I mean, half answer. One, coffee. That's one. I drink a lot of coffee in the morning. Two is just when I get home from work. Like let's say I go running in the morning. Like yesterday, perfect example because I run 3-4 times a week. I'll run in the morning. All right, perfect. Run in the morning. Tired. I just ran 5 miles. I'm exhausted. I feel good. Then I go work an 8-hour day. Most people, that's a pretty good day. You run 5 miles, you go work a corporate job for 8 hours. You deserve some time to relax. I get home. Do I want to go work out for an hour? Absolutely not. But does Chase in 3 hours want to work out? Yes. The Chase in 3 hours is going to be so glad that I worked out. And so that's always what I'm basing it off of. And I always base it off of my future self of like, all right, let's say, do I want to wake up early tomorrow? No. But at Chase at 6 a.m., he's going to be damn happy that he woke up early. Let's say in a year, if I do 100 push-ups every day, am I going to want to do 100 push-ups every day? No. But in a year from now, you know how happy Chase is going to be that I did 100 push-ups every single day? In the moment, you can always make an excuse. All right, I'm scrolling on TikTok. I'll get off in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, I'll be done scrolling. Maybe 10 minutes. What about yourself in 15 minutes if you told yourself you'd just stop right then and did something else for those 15 minutes? Yeah. You'd be so much happier. The problem is you're always thinking of the now. What do I want right now? When in terms, I started thinking, what do I want in a couple hours? What do I want in a couple days? And I'm always thinking ahead. So when I'm leaving the office, I'm already thinking, okay, I'm thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner because I already know I'm going to work out. I know Chase is going to want to go to the gym and he's going to eat dinner right after. I'm always thinking of not what I want to do in the moment, but what I'm going to be thankful for after.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mindset that has really helped me do this every single day throughout my life.
Speaking about the office, like I've never seen another like, dude, people freaking love you, dude. You're posting up a camera and you got guys doing push-ups. Yeah. They're dabbing you up. I've never seen anything like that. Like, you know what that makes me think? That makes me think as a CEO and as a manager, I want a guy like Chase on the team. That is good culture because culture is the number one thing you can have at any single team you have. But I've also got to think like sometimes there may be some envy and jealousy within an office. Maybe there's older people that are like, why is he filming this stuff and da da da. Did you ever experience any of that stuff? Or very similar?
Oh my gosh. When I started posting content, I started posting content October 1st, 2024. That was my birthday. That was my birthday present to myself. I told myself I will start posting once a day from here on out. That is what I'm going to give to myself. So when I started posting, I knew there was going to be some like negative things pop up because I've never posted before. So people I knew my friends back home, like people were going to see me start posting and be like, what is Chase doing? Like, we've never seen him. So yes, that problem arose with friends back home, like saying, why is he posting? But I noticed in the office too, it really arose of what in the world is this kid doing? People were laughing, like, why is he recording himself? Like people thought it was so funny because it wasn't working. I wasn't getting any views. And the thing that's funny is once it started getting traction, people start realizing, wait, like he's getting views. Like, oh, like maybe he's actually cool now. And that's kind of the double-edged sword of it is like, I've always been the same. I've always recorded the same in the office. I've always done my thing, but it wasn't until it's always cringe until it's not. And people always think it's cringe. And people gave me a lot of hate in the office early on because I was doing something outside the norm. Why would I even try and pursue content while working a full-time job? Why would I be like recording myself in these funny mannerisms? Like that's not something that's, I should be doing.
Yeah.
But then when it started working, the talk got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then people started realizing, like, I asked them from day one, do y'all want to be in my videos? Do you want to be in my videos? Like doing the stuff in the office. Like I'm always the person in the office, like talking, walking around, saying hi to everyone, like doing anything I can to just keep the energy high. And so I would try and bring that energy into the videos. But people were like, no, I don't want to be in your videos like right now. And then once I started gaining some followers, now people kind of want to be in the videos and showcase that side of them. So it is kind of a double-edged sword of that.
Do you ever get nervous just with like getting fired? We talked with Micah. He was like, yeah, dude, like I was terrified at Salesforce. Like I was afraid I was going to get fired posting in the office and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid point. And it's one of those things that when I'm recording, like if you go look me up on LinkedIn, you can look up my name, you can Google my name and find out exactly who I work for, where I work, all that stuff. Like that is good. I have my LinkedIn linked to my TikTok. Like that is normal. But in my videos, I will not, and I never have come out and said where I work or show where I work or post any information about the company. Whenever I record, I make sure that there is no information anywhere on the screen to where I could be in my office or I could be in a WeWork in the middle of Taiwan for all people know, because there's nothing giving that away. And so, yeah, there are times where I'm like worried, like here and there, like, oh, like something could happen. I've just had to been very careful about the manner in which I record to be like, all right, I need to make sure like I'm not getting any single part, like company information, customer info, none of that can be out online, even employee screens, anything like that. So yeah, that's something I've been very careful about.
And speaking about, so like the situation with work, and it's like, at first everyone's like, Chase, get out of here. Like, this is cringy. What the heck are you doing? But then boom, you blow up and stuff starts going well. And it's like, oh, Chase, can I get a video? But does the same thing happen with now people, like you are this public figure, are people starting to try to get into your life now that maybe weren't there before? Or an old friend is like, oh, Chase, da, da, da. Like, how do you approach that stuff? And where is your trust and ability to kind of let new people in your life get close to you?
Yeah, that's good. And also I want to ask you the same question after too, because I know I'm sure you've dealt with this a lot too, especially on a college campus. Yeah. I can't even imagine starting posting and doing all this, especially in your style videos too. Like it's one thing being in the real world. It's another thing being at a college campus. So I would love to get your perspective on this after, but I think it's a great question in terms of, I have noticed like when I started posting more and more, people started reaching out to me that never really reached out to me before, that I was always trying to reach out and talk to. I've been the same person all along. It's been me. I haven't changed. But it almost took me posting online and gaining that traction for people to realize, oh, wait, that maybe Chase is someone worth like talking to or hanging out with. And I've had people from back home that, and this is both a good and a bad thing, because some people, like I can tell, very, very few, some people I can tell, like they're reaching out solely for the fact to gain something from me. One way or another, they're looking to gain something from our friendship, from me blowing up. On the flip side of that, I've noticed people reaching out to me from the fact that I've blown up, that maybe they never really got to know me that well. They just didn't have a chance to know me because we weren't in the same friend group. We weren't around a lot. Maybe we went to different colleges. We never really had the chance to get to know each other. And through the lens of social media, I've now got to put out myself and showcase that a little more. So these people have been like, wait, Chase, like you're right under my nose this whole time. We lived 10 minutes apart and I never really knew that that's who you were.
Really?
So I've seen a lot of positive stuff from it. And to your point of letting people in my life, it's one of those things where I think I've only seen positives. I think anyone at all that comes in my life now, I think content has just brought so many connections and so many people into my life by putting me into a light that people otherwise wouldn't have seen. And just even like random people that kind of like if people walk up to me on the street and they want to take a picture or something, I will give them my phone number if they want to hang out, if they have questions. Like I will fully do stuff like that because I'm just a normal person at the end of the day. And by me posting and doing stuff, it's allowed me to bring in more people, like just make more friends. So I think for me, it's been a lot of a positive light, but I'd love to, ask you about if that's been something that has been positive for you as well, or if it's been almost like a negative in terms of what you've seen.
So the reason, and this wasn't the reason at the start, but the reason I do this podcast is because I started sitting down with people like you and other people.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bro, I love connecting with other people. Like, I freaking love it. I love learning about what formed you from childhood, from high school to this, to your relationship to this. I love me being able to express and you get to know me. Like, it just fires me up. And so
Yeah.
the one thing, like you said, about, start getting some attention is there is a flood of connections that come into your life. Or maybe you have that little blue check mark and X amount of followers and you can slide in and then you can try to get to know someone else. And I love that aspect of it, but like there's a slippery slope. You could tell when people just want something, but
Yeah.
even with people before, like I try to keep a very like close knit circle and sharing certain things only with select individuals. Like if you come to me first day, like, I mean, we're not going to get super, super deep on a lot of sensitive information. Like obviously that trust has to be earned, but I think the best part of it is really the relationships and connections you can make. It is it's honestly the best thing about being human. And I'm really starting to realize this.
No, that's, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Seriously.
So we are almost at the end, but I want to come up with 3 fun questions. So number 1, Chase, who's your celebrity crush?
Whew. Celebrity crush. That is it's a great question. I would say, it's a tough one. See, because I have a lot of answers, and
I don't even know my celebrity crush.
I'm trying to think of where I know. Okay. Give me a sec. Because this is going, because whatever I say here, people are then going to associate this with my type physically for women, quote unquote. Like whoever I say here, that's like, oh, he likes blondes, or oh, he likes brunettes, or like, oh, like that's his type. So I have to be very meticulous about what I say here, but I think, I could just say Sydney Sweeney, but like, see, I just don't know people's names. We'll go with Sydney Sweeney.
Money. All right. So
I like
world, Chase loves blondes, so you better be. Okay, next.
Why that took so long?
Any pet peeves?
Pet peeves. Yeah. One, whenever I'm with someone, regardless where it is, and a phone is on the table. I don't care if it's turned upside down. If that phone, or if it's turned upside down, maybe okay. But if that phone, we're at dinner, we're at drinks, even if it's on do not, if that phone is out, you don't have to be on it. You could never touch it. But that is showing me that if something pops up on that phone, like given if it's your parents, I'm like, sure, different. But if something pops up on that phone, that's more important than the time that you're spending with you right now. I'm allocating my time to be with you, and girl, like if I'm hanging out with guys and like we're all like someone's on the phone, like, okay, why am I hanging out with you right now? You just go hang out with whoever you're texting, whatever you're doing with. That is one of my biggest ones, is whenever there is a phone present on a table, whether that be at a restaurant, at a bar, in a living room, wherever that is, like I love when they're removed from the equation.
I could not agree with that more. So with that being said, Chase, this was freaking awesome, brother. Thank you so much.
Dude, I love it.
I had a blast. I hope everybody enjoyed this, but But then again, thank you for coming on Gross Potential.
Dude, thank you for having me. Seriously, dude, this was a pleasure. Like I said, I feel like I know you pretty well through your videos. Fortunate enough to be able to have your number as well. But dude, this was just a great insight into getting to talk more. So
Amazing.
yeah, I love this.
All right, everybody, take care. Bye bye.